Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, Wrestling Edition. We have our wrestling expert back with us, Jacob Mason. How you doing today, brother?
I am fantastic, Martin. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. It's always good to just finally come home and talk some good old wrestling.
Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm stoked for today's episode.
I am too, especially we're going to be talking about the end. So we're going to hit a couple things today. We're going to talk about the nasty spot Matt Hardy took. We're going to talk about NXT Super Tuesday 2, Finn and Adam Cole, the results of that. We're going to talk about Rusev, Mirio going to AEW. And then the big conversation we're going to be talking about today is the third-party ban heard around the world with WWE, and that is going to be the portion of this episode. So you're going to hear both of our thoughts and how this started, what's it mean, where do we go from here. That's going to be later on in the show. So I want to start off with Matt Hardy, with the bump he took the last AEW pay-per-view. It was pretty nasty. I thought he was dead, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. And they rushed him to the hospital. He's alive. He hasn't died. Would have been a whole bunch of RFP Matt Hardys. But that bump was just nasty. I don't even know if that was necessary. What did you think about it when you saw that bump?
So I caught when I seen the bump, I was like gas, literally seeing that he's done. I thought that's his last bump because he hit hard. I mean, they overshot. Where they had the boxes and the table set up, to take the majority of the force, and they overshot it. And, that was brutal. That was one hell of a sight to see. A lot of stuff I seen afterwards was AEW saying, Matt's fine, he's okay, blah, 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 blah. And then you got Revy Hardy, Matt's wife, posting on social media, freaking out, saying he has a concussion, he has all these things, and the kayfabe is real. It's so real to me because who do you believe in this situation? And even I seen later that Chris Jericho was on a podcast, if I remember, or he did some sort of interview, but he said, Matt Hardy's fine. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. So, but Matt came out and, he said he's fine. Whether he has a concussion or not, who knows? That was the first big major botch bump in AEW. How do you think they handled it?
I think with that situation, from the years of watching wrestling, I think I lean to always believe the significant other, especially if they're not in the company, because they won't get repercussions if they speak out. I was like, oh no, he had a concussion. This is BS. And he's not that. Yeah, you're right. It was the first bad bump I think I've ever seen on AEW too. They've been pretty cautious. But I feel like he did have a concussion. I feel like he shouldn't have come back. But, I mean, he is from an older era where if you're not dead, you're performing. So that might have been something to it. And same with Chris Jericho. But Chris Jericho saying that's kind of funny because if I remember when he was in WWE during 2017 main event of SummerSlam, when Brock Lesnar busted Randy Orton's head open, he was ready to fight Brock Lesnar. He didn't know if that was the finish or Brock was taking liberties against Randy, and they told him so. That was interesting hearing from him, and then him saying this is a concussion, which wasn't a concussion. But I think that Matt had a concussion.
Do you think AEW should have stopped the match?
I think they should have. Yeah, I think they should have got him out as quickly as possible. Stop the match or just do some BS roll up and get him out.
That's the only time a roll up is okay. for the entire wrestling world to know that's the only time for a roll up is a good finish.
Yeah, they should have done that. Even just this past Monday, we're not going to talk about Raw like that, but just on Monday, because it correlates with this, Mickie James she popped her shoulder, and so they had to wrap that match up quickly, and everyone's like, oh, that finish looked ugly. But then when you found out through the grapevines that, yeah, Mickie legit got hurt, when wrestlers get hurt like that, you got to get them out so they can get that medical attention, because they take too many bumps, and their lives are already shortened by all the bumps they've taken. You don't want to shorten them any more than it has to.
Exactly. I know from everything I read, like they had like the doctors look at him and all that stuff, quote unquote, like during the match or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But Matt wanted to continue. And this seems to be the big debate, or another big debate in like the wrestling community, because I feel like this spot completely just outblew All Out pay-per-view. That was the only thing people were talking about was Matt Hardy. Nothing else really got talked about. It seemed like everybody wanted to talk about Matt Hardy, and I completely get it. I do not, and this is just one of my hot takes I'm going to have tonight. I think wrestling needs to be treated like how football is treated. Mm-hmm. So when someone takes a bad shot in football, they pull them out of the game. They do the concussion, testing and all that. I think anytime a bad bump happens, I don't think it should be left up to the wrestler. And I think you nailed it on the head. Yeah, Matt Hardy is an old school wrestler. If you're not dead, you're wrestling. But not to get on the touchy subject, but let's talk about kind of Chris Benoit. How many concussions did he take? And we all know what happened with Chris Benoit. Yeah. I think it should just be, hey, this bad bump, you're getting pulled. And just whatever happens in the storyline, wrestling always constantly evolves and always changes stories. That, in my opinion, is how it should be.
Right. I agree, too, because with wrestling, we've seen storylines get changed because people broken kayfabe, got caught by TMZ, or they had to be written off because they had other movies and stuff like that, pregnancies. So they're super creative. They're some of the best creative minds on the planet. So when someone gets hit like that, you guys can work around that story, but you got to get that guy or girl checked out, because that's long-term success that you're losing if they have to be out for an extended period of time. And I think they're getting better. I was shocked this past January when Edge came back from the Rumble. It's neck, or when Daniel Bryan came back. Still haven't seen Paige come back because she got messed up. And I feel like if you don't have maybe 3 to 4 doctors saying that you can come back, they don't have you come back. So I agree with the football thing. The only thing would be hard is that they can't, I don't know if they'll be taking them out every mid-match, but the roll-up, get them out, have a tent ready. I think they should have a tent ready, next to the announcers. Maybe not so close that you see them on TV, but they should always have medical right there. I don't think they do. They always come running from the ramp. But that's what they need going forward.
I agree 100%, because that was a hard bump. That was a scary bump. I'm glad Matt Hardy's okay, but I think Matt Hardy needs to just look out after his 3 kids and his wife, and wrestling can be on the back burner. He's a legend. He's going down as a legend. There's no doubt there. Just be safe. I understand AEW is certainly doing way more risky things than WWE, and I'm glad, but just do it in that safe way. That way, when something bad happens, hey, whatever the case is, because what was it? Matt was going to leave AEW if he lost the match.
Yeah.
How many people have loser leaves town match, shows up, X amount of time later. Mm-hmm. And, that could have been a storyline of, you didn't beat me. You just damn near broke my neck.
Yeah.
Let's have a real match, just shows up later, surprises Sammy, and calls it a day.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you even brought up, that's the only thing I even remember from that pay-per-view, even though there was a mimosa match, which I think I think it's funny that Chris Jericho was the one partaking in that, but then he would talk about some things that WWE did, which were dumb. But a mimosa match is a little bit too much for me. But I guess going forward, just to say on AEW, they had a new superstar debut since the last time we recorded together, and it was Mirio, aka Rusev. And I was shocked. I didn't think he was coming back to wrestling for a bit. I thought he was going to take some time off with his games and all of that, but he showed up and he's the best guy, Mirio, and I was like, good for him. I hope they utilize him. He's a great talent. What did you think about Mirio / Rusev coming to AEW?
I was shocked to see it, but I was happy to see it. Rusev, Miro, we all know he's great in the ring. Sure, he always had Lana as a mouthpiece for 99% of his career, but he's always been entertaining. I really think WWE let him down because Rusev was so hot when the Rusev Day was happening. I mean, that was one of the most over things in that time, in my opinion. And they just crapped all over it. So to see him show up, he's going to be with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. You know, I don't know a ton about Kip Sabian, to be completely honest, but I'm excited to see what he does. I mean, I think he's just going to come out and just beat the hell out of people. But we all know him, you know, he can have great matches with Cody Rhodes and Brody Lee and Moxley. I mean, he's already had matches with them. Plus is he going to be in a tag team? Is he going to be a singles guy? What's he going to do? I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I think with Rusev, just to make that parallel to football as we're navigating through COVID and when people opt out and you're like, ooh, so-and-so opt out. Like the bigger teams get things, then we're just like, oh, now Rusev's at AEW. They already had Dean Ambrose, Jericho's there. Luke Harper for their WWE names are there. So now Rusev is like, all right, more and more people are going to AEW. They're opening up the pocketbooks. I just wonder if they can continuously pay these guys and girls close to the amount of money they were making at WWE. And yeah, Rusev's first run when he was with WWE, he was undefeated until WrestleMania 31 when he lost the U.S. title to John Cena. I know back then everyone was like, I don't know about that. But then when you saw the U.S. Open title run, it all worked out. But it's Rusev. He was always getting in trouble. Not even him per se, but with his wife, real life wife Lana, real name CJ Perry, who we are going to talk about a lot at the end of this episode. She's the primary focus. So good for him. Can't wait to see what he does, and we'll just have to wait and see. And then what also happened last time we recorded was NXT TakeOver 2. Super Tuesday 2, because we recorded about Super Tuesday 1, where they had the tie with Finn and Adam, and then they had their match, Finn and Adam, for the NXT title. They weren't even the main event, which we were both shocked by. It was Rhea Ripley and them, the steel cage match. But Finn beat Adam to become NXT champion. I think we both had that prediction. When you watched the match, did you think it was the right call? Did you like the match? Do you think they should have just done this in the first place? If this is what they were going towards?
Honestly, I personally liked the sudden death match probably more than I liked the Iron Man match.
Okay.
I think Finn going over was the right call. I just thought it was a very, very good, solid wrestling match. And I think those guys could even go a whole nother level. And I think eventually it's going to happen again and again. I think those two are always going to be side by side in the WWE wrestling business.
Yeah.
I was a fan. I liked it. I was so surprised when they came out. Finn came out first, and I'm like, what? This is, oh, okay. hey, wait like the ending of the Iron Man match was a little screwy,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like the fact they didn't make us wait longer than just 1 week. They just had it right off the rip. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I did too. And I really do like the matches where it's just like it's him versus him, no BS, no stables. Let's just see who the better wrestler is and let's put on a show. I do like last man standing. Like I like the gimmick matches too, but when it's just two dudes or two girls going at it and there's no distractions and it's a clean finish, I really do enjoy those matches. And now with Finn as champion, it opens up a lot of different avenues. I think that's the reason they couldn't go with Adam, because Adam was champ for almost 2 years. So with Finn as champ, you have him versus Massa, Gargano, Damian Priest. Like there's a whole slew of people where Finn can fight as champion. And shoot, later down the line, Adam could get the rematch if he's staying at NXT, if he's not moving up anytime soon. So I think the door is wide open with Finn reigning as champ again.
Absolutely. I do not predict Adam Cole moving up until the absolute minimal of after WrestleMania.
Yeah. He would be a great surprise at like the Royal Rumble. And then snag the Intercontinental title at the lazy booking 6-man ladder man matches they have. The lazy Intercontinental 6-man ladder match, first match on a WrestleMania. He'd be a perfect one to win that. Before we go into the third party stuff, there was another thing I wanted to bring up that was said by one of our favorite guys, Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. He's another one. I know we talked about this a couple podcasts ago with Triple H telling Ryback that there wasn't going to be another big superstar since John Cena. But then CM Punk, he didn't say John Cena's name when he said his thing, but he basically said the same exact thing, that there's nobody he sees as the next megastar in wrestling. So I have two questions for you. One, what would you define as a megastar in wrestling, and do you think that he is wrong?
So when I think megastar, I think of the crossover, the guy who does the main events, but also does all of the public appearances, like on the Today Show, or does movies. When you think back to when WWE was the hottest during the Attitude Era, your two megastars was Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and they did everything, both in and outside of the ring. So that's what I think. Both Stone Cold and both The Rock have done movies. The Rock has certainly done more movies and better movies, I would say. But do I think CM Punk is wrong? Absolutely.
Okay.
And I hate that I'm about to say these words. I mean, it hurts my soul to say it. But there is technically, I think, two options for a homegrown megastar in and out of the ring. And that is, one, Roman Reigns.
Oh.
He's already done movies with his cousin, The Rock.
Oh, okay.
He runs everything in WWE, whether we like it or not.
Oh, I mean, we've come to terms with that, 3 years ago?
I'm still not at terms with it. You'll understand if you're if you're a diehard Cult of Bray Wyatt fan, you'll never really come to terms with it. You just try to accept it and move on. But the next one who could do, I think, the megastar, I guess I'm going to say the next one, but I also have kind of like a quarter person who has done it, hasn't done it full time, would be Charlotte. Would be the next one. Let's face it, when Charlotte comes back, she's going to run the show. There's no doubt. Charlotte, has the look, the it look that everybody likes. And I could see her being the next megastar. Why, like, could it be a woman? Absolutely, it could. I don't see why not. But like the quarter person I was thinking of, do you remember how much star power Ronda Rousey had when she came into the WWE?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know when I was at a Monday Night Raw up in Cleveland and Ronda Rousey was there. And if I remember correctly, I think she tore up like Ruby Riot and like the Riot Squad.
That's about.
But I mean, the pop she had was nuts. I was one of the 4 people who weren't screaming their heads off, but that pop was huge. So we kind of already, in a way, had it, but of course, Ronda wasn't full time. She was there doing her short contract. She headlined WrestleMania. But yeah, I think CM Punk is 1,000% wrong. Vince will always make a megastar. Whether we like the star or not, he's going to make it happen. Absolutely.
So I think with this megastar thing, it is tricky. I do agree with you that I think there's going to be one if there's not already people building. I don't know if that person's good. I mean, John Cena is you don't have to watch wrestling to know who John Cena is. Like, you either know him from hosting the Nickelodeon stuff or hosting the ESPYs. If you do the You Can't See Me, it comes from John Cena. You know the John Cena prank call. And I mean, in full disclaimer to everyone who's listening, if you don't know me, that's my guy. Like, since I was little, and I still follow him to this day. But I think that with Punk saying that, I do believe Ronda Rousey, I mean, because she was just a star in MMA, so she did bring that appeal to when she was at WWE, and I mean, she got the title in like a month because of star power. Roman and Charlotte was doing the stuff with ESPN, the body issue, but if you do remember when they had that triple threat at WrestleMania, one of ESPN's taglines was really that she was Ric Flair's daughter. It didn't even have like multiple times, and she called him out on it. So it was. So that wasn't.
I forgot about that.
So that wasn't a work. That was a shoot. She was like really mad that they disrespected her like that and they had everyone else's credentials. But I think the biggest thing with CM Punk saying that is like, if you went to a non-wrestler and you said, "Do you know who Roman Reigns is?" Because even with the movies that he was in with The Rock, he wasn't credited as Roman Reigns. I think he was credited as his real name, Joe. So you'd be like, who the heck is that? So that's the thing. But I do agree that there's always going to be that next mega star. But is it going to be to the point of the last mega star? That's always remains to be unseen. Because even as big as John Cena is, and I love that man. I mean, he's super big. He's not as big as The Rock. I mean, The Rock's the biggest star probably in culture-wise, like mainstream in wrestling history. Everyone knows who he is. So, I don't know. I think that you're right that there'll be another megastar, or they're already building up. I thought, personally, the 2, outside the ones you already said, Daniel Bryan during the Yes movement in its peak, because you had arenas and sports arenas doing the Yes chant, like when their teams were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also Becky Lynch, I felt like she was really, really, really ascending. When she had the bloody nose, the official donning of the man, that was mainstream. The way she went at Ronda Rousey on Twitter, she was one building too. I don't know how that heat's going to be when she comes back, if it's going to be the same flames that she can light up, or it's going to be dull now. But those were the 2 I can remember recently, like the Daniel Bryan Yes movement and the Becky Lynch the Man were peak building of mainstream stars.
I'm going to disagree with you on the Daniel Bryan one.
Really?
I am. And here's why, because you're completely right about everybody was doing the Yes chant. I mean, I have a Pittsburgh Pirates shirt that has yes, yes, yes on it. But I don't could Daniel Bryan be a megastar? Absolutely. Do I think he wants to be? No.
No.
I think Bryan wants to live in like a little cottage somewhere in the Northwest and just be with him and his kids and his wife. I just don't think that's what he wants. But I completely get where you're coming from on everything else on that, on saying Daniel Bryan. It makes sense, but I just don't think Bryan wants that for his life. He's a super simple dude. That's why I think that's why he resonated with so many people. Is he's just a dude who just likes wrestling and he wants to save the earth.
To push back a little bit on the Daniel Bryan thing, yeah, I agree. He is a super simple dude, but he's also a super simple dude with a very attractive wife who's always in the spotlight with her sister, because those two, the Bellas, are trying to be those Omega big stars. If you do remember, WWE had Total Divas, and then they gave the Bellas their own show.
Oh, trust me, I've watched both Divas and Bellas. No shame in this game.
So,
yeah, you make a very great point on that.
So, like, he's the normal dude who's getting, which I think about, I don't even know how that storyline works. He's a normal dude who's getting kicked around, but then has the hot wife at home. So it's like, is he really getting kicked around? Now, if you think about it years later. But yeah, but with Total Divas and Total Bellas, it comes right to what you just said. Vince and them will do whatever it takes to get these people in the mainstream if they can benefit from it. So you're right on that. But when it doesn't benefit them and it hurts the company, they say, F all that. We're shutting it down. And that is the segue to the main part of this podcast. If you guys have been living under a rock, about a week or so ago, WWE came out of nowhere and basically said, we're banning all third party. You can't be doing stuff with other people. Like, no, it's a wrap. You work for us. You're only doing stuff for us. And when you think of third party stuff, it's like, no more Twitch. No more getting endorsed by some company on Instagram. No more doing these random commercials or YouTube ads. None of that. And it came out of left field. Like, I was shocked when it came out. You were shocked. I know some of my other buddies were shocked. We're like, what in the heck is going on? And they sent out a full detailed thing saying, yeah, we can't. These actions are necessary in order to help rebuild our brand. So I want you, Jacob, to just tell the audience how this came to be.
Okay, so when, like Martin said, when all this came out here in left field, I put on my detective cap and I said, what the hell happened? Because something big happened, because the WWE doesn't just blow up like that. I mean, they've done a lot of dumb stuff, but they were saying that you couldn't use your wrestling name, and in that WWE also owned your real name.
Mm-hmm.
That is what got me more than the, hey, you can't do third party stuff. It's a, we own your real name. I'm like, you don't own people's real names. I mean, look at Ryback. He literally changed his names from Ryan Reeves to Ryback Reeves. Like, nah, you don't own people's names. But so after some investigating, we found out that there were there was one main culprit followed by a second lesser of a culprit. Turns out Lana, Rusev, Miro's wife, CJ Perry, decided to do a Bang Energy commercial. Not one, but she did two. And basically, it's not much of a commercial. It's like a 30-second shot of Lana holding up a Bang Energy drink, showing off her boobs, and then dancing around, shaking her ass, showing off her boobs. And that's it. Like, she doesn't go like Bang Energy drink, or if she did, I don't remember. But she did two commercials like that. And then this is the funniest one. This one, I busted out laughing when I found this one. Mustafa Ali, who I haven't heard his name in months.
Thought he
When was the last time you heard Mustafa's name or Ali or whatever he's going by now?
I thought he was the hacker on SmackDown, but I was wrong.
That storyline doesn't exist.
Nope, it doesn't exist anymore.
Nope. This is not the hacker you're looking for.
Mm-mm.
But anyways, so Mustafa Ali he gets sponsored by Manscaped. And I think everybody has heard 1 trillion ads for Manscaped. Mustafa Ali comes out and he is sitting in a WWE locker room and he goes, "Hi, I'm Mustafa Ali, and I'm here to save your balls." I am WWE superstar Mustafa Ali, and I am here to save your balls. Now, in case we forgot, WWE is a family-friendly entertainment show. That is their niche. It is about the kids, very PG for the most part. Every now and then we get something cool, but oh my God, they killed everything. Now, I did see that WWE did start backpedaling a lot, though.
Yes.
Because there was outrage from both inside the company and tons of outrage from outside. Now, from what I've read, you can still do YouTube, Cameo, Twitch, all that stuff, but you have to use your real name. Because apparently WWE realized, hey, we actually don't own their real name. They just can't address themselves as, "Hi, I'm WWE superstar CJ Perry," or Lana, or whatever. Like, you just can't use WWE. You just have to do it on your own. So that's good. But this was wild. This was huge. What's your take on it, buddy?
Oh, this is the biggest wrestling news since when they had to have no fans at WrestleMania and it became 2 nights. Like, this was just crazy. Like, you already talked about how it went. And Lana, I don't know how many strikes this woman's going to be given. Because she always messes things up. And the fact that she's still in the company is just mind-boggling to me. And you already said, like, I'm even reading a thing from AJ Styles when he had an interview, and he was talking about the stream's going to continue. Like, they want them to do that. They want them to do YouTube. It's just they want to be cautious. And, like, you even talked about, like, the backlash, that was some real heat. If they wanted heat, that's what they got. Even people like the presidential candidate Andrew Yang started going to WWE. And I'm like, Andrew Yang is coming to WWE? But he was the Mr. Give every American $1,000. So I would understand why he would. I just think it was so crazy. But Lana doing the Bang Energy, for those who don't know, Bang Energy is just the place who signs any Instagram model you have followed is probably sponsored by Bang Energy. That is what they do. They get attractive women, put them in swimsuits, parade a drink that none of those women drink in real life, and you know it. Mm-hmm. And Manscaped, I mean, they get attractive dudes, in shape dudes, talking about cleaning up your balls. So I just felt like the people who did it to are the idiots of the company. I was like, you didn't think that this would be wrong? Like, I would think that they would go to WWE, be like, hey, I'm about to do such and such. It's cool. But they just up and did it. And then Lana, too, on Monday, she lost in like one move, even though she's not a good wrestler. But she lost in one move. Then she got put through the table. So I don't know if she has heat now backstage. Rusev is kind of worried about his wife at WWE because he thinks she has heat for him going to AEW and then this stuff. But when I researched it, too, because I was like, all right, time to check on my guy. And I read this article about John Cena. Because about the first name, like the real names and all of that. And that if your real name is your wrestling name, WWE technically has intellectual property rights on your name.
What?
Yeah, and John Cena is the biggest real name. I guess you can make the case for Brock Lesnar. One of the biggest real name who uses his real name in wrestling, him, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. So I read that, and Tom Holyhue, who he was talking on his episode of Dropkick Discussions, was talking about WWE owns the name John Cena, and that's John Cena's actual name. That means whenever John Cena's filming, whenever he's credited in a film, WWE gets a pay cut, and they get the cut of the profits. And there are currently other people who are working WWE using their real names, and WWE gets that cut too because of intellectual property. And then I had to be like, hold on, has John Cena ever talked about this? And he did. I don't know if you remember, it's when he first became champion, and he was on Howard Stern, and he.
Oh, I do remember this because he was actually okay with paying Vince.
Correct. He talked about the murky thing of intellectual property, and Howard Stern asked him if he was okay with this, and he said, yeah, because he felt like he owed it to Vince McMahon becoming the man that he is, and that he wouldn't have any of the stuff that he has now or is going to get if he wasn't John Cena, the champ of wrestling. So, yeah, so this was talked about in 06, but it just flew under our noses until 2020, and here we are. And then you think of someone like The Rock, who he owns his whole name. There's an interview, I think, with Howard as well, where he talks about, no, I own The Rock name. So I don't know how he finagled that, but it's crazy because it's like going forward, any wrestler, I don't think you can use your real name. Like, you have to make up a wrestling name, because if you do your real name and you leave, then they're going to get a cut of it. And if you leave on bad terms, then they still get a cut of it. So this is crazy. It's like, and I was so excited to actually talk to you about this because, like, going forward, you got to watch what you name yourself in wrestling. And then just to go off that too, with the Pages and the Selena Vegas, when they get on Twitch, I mean, I don't even know if they're good at video games, but they wear sometimes less gear than they do in the ring and than they do when they're doing their Twitch streams. So they know what they're doing to get these followers, and I don't know if WWE is okay with that. So that was another thing. I think it's geared towards the women because they make less than the men, and they're trying to compensate for that. But they also they'll promote Xavier Woods' YouTube channel. They'll promote those things, promoting Alexa Bliss's podcast she's starting, or Corey Graves' stuff. But when you do some scandalous stuff like that, they'll be the first ones to cut you out. And we saw that AEW already took a swipe at them.
They're taking all sorts of shots.
Talking about our AEW superstar and Twitch streamer, Penelope Ford. Make sure you check out her Twitch on our official channel. Or Mirio, a.k.a. Rusev, taking sweat, saying, I love my video games. I'm still going to be playing my video games. I'm glad to be with a company that allows me to do both and won't get in trouble. Like, it's wild.
Oh, even on Being the Elite, the YouTube show,
yeah,
Brody Lee just did a whole thing with the Dark Order where he was screaming at them for being on Twitch and YouTube and everything else. And I mean, it was funny stuff, but they're just taking jabs, which, hey, it's good stuff. I like it.
It's very, very interesting. So now I'm thinking of a person like Brock Lesnar. That's his real name. Now I want to know what his contract was like. Did Brock Lesnar get his name before WWE did? Because Brock Lesnar left. He was in Japan winning the championship there. He was in UFC doing all those things. And I know WWE was not getting a cut of that money. So I want to see how that is. Or someone like Randy Orton. Who else is using their real name right now?
Johnny Gargano.
That's his real. Is Tommaso's real name Tommaso Ciampa? And Adam Cole. That's not Adam Cole. Is that his real?
No, Adam Cole. God, his name is actually hilarious. His real name. Let me find this here. It's it's Adam Cole. It's Austin
Oh
Jenkins.
goodness.
So yeah, I mean, no offense, Austin Jenkins, but that's not a wrestling name. Stick with Adam Cole.
Yeah, so it's something to really follow because I don't think any Twitch or YouTubes have stopped. I'm just even thinking of someone like Mandy Rose, who is, I mean, now just thinking about it too, there's been a lot of women who have graced like the cover of Maxim. Mandy Rose was the latest one. And I think she was the latest one since Eva Marie to be a wrestler, to be on the cover of Maxim. So it's like, I've seen those people on there. Shoot, we're old enough to remember some of the wrestlers who were in Playboy. Oh, were they using their wrestling names and Playboy and WWE was okay in that? And Playboy, I mean, it can be a lot worse than Instagram. I know some of the people don't know what Playboy is because it's not as big as like Instagram or like OnlyFans, but it's crazy. Now, that'd be the next thing. Which wrestler is going to be bold enough to try and get on OnlyFans?
Lana?
Well,
100% Lana, because Lana doesn't care. I mean, if you Google CJ or Lana in like Pornhub or anything, you're going to find Lana's videos on there. And that was way before WWE, back when I think she was just acting. So she's done some stuff in the past.
oh, I would remember too. We talked about this months ago where Sunny was on OnlyFans and JR was endorsing her.
Of course JR was. Absolutely JR was. And good for him on it. So do you think WWE was right or wrong, or where do you stand with everything?
Oh. As just a normal person, I think they were wrong. As a normal person. But if I put myself in the shoes as an employer, I wouldn't be wanting my people to just be doing whatever the hell they wanted endorsement wise, and then it looks bad on us, like a Manscaping and Bang Energy. And if you guys like those companies, more power to you. I don't have anything really against them. I just know what they're about. Like, come on now. So that's what's really tough for me. Because I'm like, if I'm Vince, I can't have Lana just promote some garbage. And you're using your wrestling name. And they look you up. And then they find your profile on our website. And I guess it's consistent too of what they do. Because, I mean, if they don't like you, you're just cut. You're out. Period. If you do something stupid, you're out. You don't see, I mean, even you think of someone like Big Cass. Big Cass really got the boot for them because he was bringing politics into the locker room.
Yeah.
So they try and keep as neutral as possible. So I don't know. As a person, I think they're wrong and they've been backtracking. But as an employer, I can see how they did it. But just saying ban everything, that was bad press. Bad. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think when they first announced all this stuff, I think they were 100% in the wrong. I think once they backpedaled and took a look at the big picture, I think they started doing the right thing. Because, like you said, they're a PG company. Mm-hmm. And like you said, people can look up their names. Oh, hey, they go to WWE.com and, you know, pay $9.99 a month to watch them on the network. But I get it. I get why Vince was like, no, like all this is done. But then I imagine it was probably AJ and Xavier Woods probably went up to him and was like, dude, no, they're a bunch of dumbasses. We're not. We're just Twitch streaming. Like, we're just making this side money. And he's probably like, oh, okay. Well, I'm like, if you're going to do it, just use your real name. That's the safest way to do it. You know, if you're going out and doing a bunch of dumb stuff with your real with your wrestling name, and it looks poorly on the company. Like, I'm not allowed to go out in my job and wear my uniform, go to a bar, get smashed. And because if that goes back to my company, then I get fired for that because I'm representing the company and I'm doing a bunch of this bad stuff. I get why they did it. They acted very poorly in the beginning, but they made up for it in the end. So I think it's all going to work out, honestly. That's my hot take.
I agree, because this goes back to our third thing we talked about. If you want that next megastar John Cena, you got to let these people branch out to other platforms. You can't not let them branch out, but then you want them to be the biggest star on planet Earth. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And we're going to be following this for a while. If anything changes, you'll see us again 2 weeks from now on our wrestling update. Jacob, do you have anything you want to say to the fans and listeners out there?
So I have one more hot take.
Go ahead.
So back to NXT Super Tuesday 2, sudden death. I forgot to mention this. So the match was good, but you know what intrigued me more than the match?
What?
Was after the match.
Oh.
The backstage segment it had William Regal, Triple H, your new champion Finn Balor, and Adam Cole. And Adam Cole came up, congratulated him, said, great match. You know, they two-sweeted each other, and everything was smiles and hunky-dory. Everybody was happy with everyone. Very, very face-like. Later in the show, you have Undisputed Era beat down Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, or however that ended up going, but they beat the hell out of them, which was very heelish. I've said this, I think, on every podcast, but it's coming. Adam Cole is going to be leaving the Undisputed Era on his own volition or by force. I'm predicting by force because they are very slowly setting this up. And I think it's going to come back to, it's going to have to be, Bobby Fish or... Oh, what's the other one's name? I'm having a blank here. Not Roderick. Kyle O'Reilly. I think it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly that's going to take him out because Undisputed Era lost or wasn't able to win that tag title match because of the whole Pat McAfee, Adam Cole angle. They lost the match because of all that crap. And I think that's going to come and bite him in the ass. So I'll continue to say it. It's my hot take. And eventually when it happens, we're going to go back and be like, it was predicted here first on the L7C podcast. We're way ahead of the times than every other podcast out there. But it's a coming. And you have any opinion on that one?
I do think for Adam's next feud, the only people left that he hasn't feuded with is his own team. So I do think that would be a very logical thing. I also feel like if they were his last matches in NXT before he comes to the main roster, that would be perfect because he could do the story like everyone thinks I only succeeded because of the Undisputed Era. Well, I'm going to flip the bird to them and I'm going to make it on the main roster. I think that would actually lead to a great storyline if they keep it slowly building, let it explode around winter time, and then him on the main roster by the spring.
Yep. Like I said, I think it won't be till after Mania because I could see this build up happening until Mania. If you I don't know if you know this, but him and Kyle O'Reilly, they had some awesome matches in Ring of Honor back in the day. Like they can tear the house down. So it's a coming. I'm predicting it. That's my big hot take of the night. Other than that, thanks again for having me on. I love this stuff.
I do one more quick thing because you brought up Tuesday, the Super Tuesdays. The ratings have been really good. They've been close to 800,000, close to 900,000 and AEW has been doing really well on their Wednesdays. Is that something that WWE later down the line is going to think about? Instead of doing this Wednesday night war, let's just move to Tuesday.
100%. They need to move to Tuesday. They need to let AEW do their thing, let NXT do their thing. Everybody's going to make more money because NXT has beaten AEW 3 times in the ratings since they both went live on Wednesdays.
I think it's been three times. It hasn't been a lot. AEW usually typically beat them in the ratings, but NXT has had his wins.
Yeah, so I think they need to move to Tuesdays. I like it because TNA is on Tuesdays, but I don't know a ton of people that watch TNA. I know the product's getting better. I do pay attention to it more, but I know I'm going to watch NXT on Tuesdays over TNA. So I say go for it. Everybody's going to make more money. It's a no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to maybe next 2 weeks from now, we really go through the pros and cons of that. And yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. We had a lot of good contact, especially this third-party stuff, because this is just wild. And everyone, thank you for listening. Make sure you check out our other wrestling episodes. You can just go scroll through and you'll see them. We're talking wrestling every 2 weeks, so you can count on us to give you the latest in wrestling news across WWE, AEW. We haven't hit New Japan yet. We're going to hit them soon. And
oh, yeah, G1 starting up in 2 weeks.
We're going to bring them up. And we're going to TNA, I mean, laughable, but it's still wrestling. Ring of Honor. We're going to be bringing you all that stuff. So thank you guys again for listening to the L7C podcast. Thank you to our wrestling expert, Jacob, for taking his time to hop on the call. We appreciate all you listeners. We'll be back in 2 weeks talking more wrestling, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.